It was very quiet. I think after Danny Welbeck's injury, I think the game really struggled to find any sense of rhythm. I think that's sort of understandable. Second half, obviously, we were sort of camped in the sporting half, but we just couldn't find that killer final touch. I think Aubameyang will be disappointed not to have scored today. You know, obviously he hit the bar, that free kick right at the end where he should really have hit the target. It was just a bit of an underwhelming evening in general.
How much do you feel the Welbeck injury contributed to that? Because obviously when you see your teammate go down in that sort of fashion, it's not going to be great for your mental state, is it?
I think certainly in the first half you saw that. I mean, the pictures that we could see, Matteo Guendouzi looked pretty distressed by the injury himself. He looks very shaken up, and I think it's bound to have an effect on you when you see a teammate. And Danny Welbeck's very popular among the Arsenal squad. When you see him in such obvious distress, I think that's quite difficult. I think obviously Unai Emery and the coaching staff have got into them at half-time and tried to get them to forget that, and it certainly was a much improved second half performance, I thought, but we just couldn't find the goal that would have secured the winning the group for us.
I sensed when you were next to me and you were watching Eddie Nketiah ready to come on, you were getting quite excited. It's always nice to see a homegrown youngster come onto the pitch given his chance. He's going to have to be a bit more patient, isn't he?
Well, there's no one in the world who's a bigger fan than you of Eddie Nketiah, and you were all visibly shaking with excitement, I thought, of seeing Eddie. Yeah, I felt desperately sorry for him, really. You could just see his heart sinking. I mean, it really was so unlucky because he was literally just about to come on, and then Stefan Lichtsteiner went down. I mean, on the flip side, you know, if Eddie had come on and Lichtsteiner had gone down, it would have been a pretty drastic sort of reshuffling of the squad. I don't know where Eddie would have found himself. Emil Smith-Rowe might have found himself at right back or something like that if that had happened. So, yeah, poor old Eddie. I thought he'd come on against Blackpool in the Carabao Cup, but he didn't get his chance then, and he'll get his chance. You know, he scores goals for fun, doesn't he?
Well, thank you very much for your time, Rob. We've had confirmation tonight that Qarabağ have won at Poltava, which means that we get through to the next round of this competition. But it does sort of make you wonder what sort of team Unai Emery is going to take out to the Ukraine. But of course, we're going to let you discuss that in the studio.
Well, thank you very much, boys. Yes, no goals tonight, but still unbeaten. I'm joined once again by Dave Frimpong, and Dave Hillier has joined us back in the studio. He's run down from the commentary box. So, boys, yeah, just like that, that's exactly a little bit tired. But Dave Hillier, I'll come to you first. You've sat through the full 90 of that. What are your thoughts? It just wasn't our night tonight, was it?
No, I thought we got frustrated by them in the final third. I did a heat map at half-time, and it was almost like a horseshoe. We was wrapped around the sides of the pitch, but nothing really happening in that number 10 area, just in front of the box. And you've got to give credit to Sporting for blocking us out of that area. I don't think the switch of play was quick enough at times, and that's the only way we was going to affect them. Our spare man was on the opposite side. When we did get the ball out to them, it kind of happened, but it let us down on the left-hand side. Not having a natural left-footed player to deliver those balls in the box, because we had probably 7 or 8 opportunities down that side to put good balls in. And they wasn't bad balls, but it was just that little bit of finesse lacking. But at the end of the day, like you said, we're undefeated still. We're top of the group. We're qualified. So it's all good. It's all good. We didn't get Frimpong's 3-0 though. Sorry about that.
I know. I'm actually gutted about that. I did think Mensa was going to do it, but he wasn't able to, unfortunately. But yeah, we just didn't have that creativity in the middle. I feel like our final balls weren't as punching as they should have been, and that's probably what was our downfall.
We definitely did have the possession and the opportunities, though. The stats are in the corner of the screen now, 71% possession. And you guys at home have noticed that it was very much a case of we did try, but we couldn't quite find the breakthrough. I think we've got a tweet coming now. Yeah, Paddy said it was like attack versus defence training session. Lots of possession, but few clear-cut chances. Some of those passes by Matteo Guendouzi have been sublime. What did you make of Guendouzi, Dave?
Yeah, he spread the ball around today. I just love the way he's so animated when he plays. He plays with so much passion. We see him at the end banging his hands down on the ground because he's disappointed that he hasn't put a decent pass in. But he tried and he probed, and but I think it was all about having a special player in that number 10 area who was going to do something special on the day, and it just didn't happen. Yeah. And I think a lot of the players out there can take a lot of credit. Emil. 90 minutes, he's a young lad. Yeah, he did put in a shift, and he got into some good positions. I just think maybe that free kick at the end, if Oba's put that in, then everything's forgotten. All the bad crosses are forgotten, and it's a good day at the office. But it's certainly not a bad one. So there's some good positives to pick out of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, one thing that definitely wasn't a positive was seeing that horrific-looking injury to Danny Welbeck in that first half. And unsurprisingly, that's still dominating what you guys at home have been saying on social media. We picked out some of these best tweets. I just hope Danny Welbeck sees some of these, see how much he's loved. Blaine says, I don't think we realise how much of a loss Welbeck is going to be in this year's Europa League campaign. And I think that's quite a big point to come out from tonight. Aside from what is a horrendous-looking injury, the bigger implications on the team for Frimpong could be quite big, because the games are coming thick and fast, particularly during this December period, and particularly if we continue in the Cups.
Yeah, we needed Welbeck. I mean, we're going to need him if we've got the FA Cups, we've got the Europa Leagues coming up as well. So it's really, really a big miss that he got injured. I'm really gutted for him. He's doing so well. He came back from another injury, and yeah, it's going to be hard to go on without having a striker like Welbeck to fall back on when we have tired legs. So, but the show goes on. Hopefully, these guys, it will rile the other players to get behind the other players, to get behind the team and get the results that we need, and then we'll be able to give a trophy back to Welbeck.
David, definitely isn't what Emery would have wanted, really, because of now Lacazette and Aubameyang. It is going to put more pressure on them. Obviously, Aubameyang had to come on earlier today. They're going to have to play a lot more football than potentially he would have wanted them to.
Yeah, and as you said, with the FA Cup coming up in January, if we're still in all competition, it's the final stages of the Carabao, so you're going to be wanting to play your best teams, and Danny would have been in that. He'd have been a starter for that, you know. He'd have been first name on the sheet. So it's going to take its toll. You've got Lichtsteiner as well going off with what could be a little hammy or a little calf, or it could be that could turn it into 6-8 weeks. Yeah, 6-8 weeks when you haven't got all your fullbacks on the left-hand side fully fit. You're under pressure. It only means that Bellerin gets an injury, and then all of a sudden we're saying, who do we stick at right back when we're putting right backs at left backs? Yeah. So it can all of a sudden, a couple of injuries, be catastrophic. But I don't think the manager will let it do that. I think the squad will absorb it. Hopefully they just come back soon, and Koscielny can recover, and he's nearly there. Monreal's nearly there.
Jenko as well. He can put in shift as well.
So.
Well, one player we didn't see tonight, but we were hoping to see him, potentially had that injury to Lichtsteiner not happened, we would have potentially seen him, as Eddie Nketiah. And he's someone that you guys have been talking about at home. You've definitely taken him to your hearts. This tweet here, this game is a breath of fresh air. This game needs Eddie Nketiah. Stone cold as I feel for him. He was about to get his first appearance of the season and Lichtsteiner get injured. It did feel like one of those nights where everything was going against us injury-wise, where Ruslan said he wanted to see him and he was so close to coming on. I have a feeling this guy will be dominating in 2 to 3 years come on Arsenal, whilst Next Generation AFC. So it's just bad luck for Nketiah. An injury or sending off has prevented him coming on 3 times now. I can tell he is a very big Eddie Nketiah fan because he's counted the number of times. Frimpong, do you think we will see a bit more of him now? And do you think he's ready for this step up and potentially a lot more football that we think he could be getting?
Oh, well, I hope he's ready. He has to be ready now because he's definitely going to get a few games now that Welbeck's going to be out. But yeah, he's going to be a breath of fresh air. I mean, we've seen Emil come into the squad and perform well, and this is going to be now Eddie's chance to see what he can do and what he can do on the pitch. And yeah, this is his big chance, and I hope he takes it.
I think the fans at home have been kind of spotting this and saying there could be potential for other players to come through. Dave, is there anyone else you think that might have to step up if these injuries are as bad as they look?
Well, I think obviously we've seen Ainsley come back into the squad today. I mean, we can't, unfortunately. Can we recall Reece Nelson? I'm not sure whether we can from the year's line.
That would be great.
Because I mean, he'd be a player. If he was in the squad right now, we'd be looking to him. He would be the next one in. And it's unfortunate for us, but obviously he's doing well where he is. So if that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen. But no, I can't see many more players breaking through. I think the manager would have liked to have got a look at Eddie tonight in that environment, and it would have been more for the manager to have a look at him in that setup because he hasn't seen him in it. But unfortunately, the players got away. I was just devastated for me, and he looked up to God, didn't he? And he said, "You took it away from me.
I was this close.
You know, you put it all on my plate last year when I gave them 2 goals,
like that,
and then you took it away." But listen, that's the thing. You can be a forward and get dragged off the pitch because someone gets sent off, and the flip side of it, you can be a forward on the bench. All of a sudden, someone gets injured. You're not going on. The manager's not going to take no chances. and it just happened to Eddie today. But he'll get his chance. He'll get his chance.
Frimpong, you mentioned to him then, we obviously talked a lot about Jenko before the game, a big game for him. What did you make of it? I want to come to you, Dave, because I think, Frimpong, you've already alluded to the fact you were quite impressed. What did you make of his performance, Dave?
Of Jenko?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought apart from lacking and having that little bit of finesse with the left foot at the end, the very end of whatever he did, he was fine. He was good. You're always going to have a problem when you're a right-sided player playing left back on the way that you swivel.
Yes,
okay, so when someone runs at you, if you're left-footed, you're used to turning that way. But right-footed, no, it's awkward for you. It's awkward for you, and you get turned and you'll fall over because of your balance. And I think he dealt with that well. He didn't get exposed. Distribution was good, fitness was good. I just think it was end product for Carl today.
He defended well. It's just the putting in the piercing balls that would have got us maybe a goal here or there.
Socrates had good cover on at times as well. Really good cover on for Rob Holding. Rob had good cover for Carl. So as a unit, they worked well and they dealt with their lackings in certain areas.
Well, no goals tonight, but of course did get a clean sheet, and one man who'll be very pleased about that was Petr Cech. He's been talking to us after the game.
We defended very well, we pressed them very well. Obviously they did a great job of having been organised, defending, and they didn't allow us to have too many opportunities, but for that regardless of that, we created some decent looks inside of the box. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the killer pass and the goal. So in the end, we take the point, clean sheet and the qualification. Obviously, we are very disappointed with the fact that we lost 2 players today because, because of the injuries. On top of that, Daniel Becksman looked like a serious injury. So it's a very disappointing because, you don't want to see your teammate and your friend injured in a serious way. So all thoughts are with him, and I hope he will get well soon.
What do you think was missing tonight from the performance?
I think the goal and the killer pass, as I said, they defended really well. We were trying to move them, and just the final ball, we had so many very good opportunities. We found a way through behind them, but the cross was not coming in the way that we could finish it off. I thought that this final pass was the difference today, that we couldn't score because thought we created enough opportunities inside of the box where just one better pass could have allowed us to score.
It's now 15 games unbeaten and another clean sheet, as you said. I mean, that must give a lot of confidence to the team.
It's obviously important when you have a tough game like that where you can't score, then obviously you need to make sure you don't lose it, because every point counts. And today you can see with the point we guaranteed the qualification for the next round, which was the target. Obviously we want to finish top of the group as well, and we have 2 games to do so. So we carry on, and now we have to switch back to Premier League, and obviously before the international break to have a win at home.
Petr, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Well, it sounds like Petr is echoing our thoughts there. Good performance. And do you know one thing I wanted to highlight? We've been saying, yes, we didn't get the breakthrough, it was frustrating, but we have extended that unbeaten run, which was really important, wasn't it, Frimpong?
Yeah, 15 on the bounce. Like, no other team can really say that they've gone 15 games without losing the game. So that's another good point that we can take on to the weekend. And yeah, Wolves they should be scared because we're going to make it 16.
Another plug for the Arsenal Nation show. We'll, of course, be here again on Sunday. But, David, he did look a little bit frustrated as well, didn't he? On a night like tonight as a goalkeeper, when you haven't had too much to do, it must be incredibly frustrating watching your teammates play all this lovely football but not be able to convert those chances.
But when you haven't had anything to do, I mean, they didn't have a shot on target. He's obviously got to do it. There's a nice couple of little bits of footwork. He stepped in, swept up at the end there. So you still got to stay concentrated as a goalkeeper. But it must be frustrating because it's a lonely game anyway, being a keeper.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck there back watching your team up the front all day long, attack v defence, and there's not a goal. But he's nailed it, and he obviously watched the show at half time and at the end of the game heard what we were saying, that it's about end product today, wasn't it? Final pass. But you've got to give credit to Sporting as well for playing their part in it. Positives are qualification, didn't get beat, didn't concede a goal. That's another positive. We take it into the weekend, we extend our unbeaten run. Just the 2 injuries leave a sour taste in your mouth at the end of the night.
The way David was talking then, it's a lonely life as a goalkeeper, almost made you think that you were a goalkeeper in your playing days. We, of course, know that wasn't the case.
I felt like it sometimes when I was chasing one of their players around because, I mean, that's another thing. I used to chase a player around so I can relate to a goalkeeper and not be involved in the game.
Oh, wow,
I used to physically, if I'm marking you, I'm just going to be like this, wherever you are. I'm marking you. And you had to be like that with some players. Roy Keane, you know, you had to be like that with him because you take your eye off him for 1 minute. So, yeah, I'm down with the keepers.
Down with the keepers. Anyone got a violin for David as well? He wants a bit of sympathy,
really
I think.
small
There. Let's see what you guys are saying at home, though. Still, those comments are coming in, which is brilliant to see. Paul Kendall said it was disappointing, but it was a hard-fought draw. But when they play most of the game behind the ball, it will always be hard to break them down. It said they missed Ozil out there. That's an interesting point. You're nodding at me, Dave Hillier. Do you think we missed Ozil tonight?
I did mention, it was purely because of the left foot. And in 1 or 2 areas where we had the ball, that I just thought he would have done something different. He wouldn't have crossed the ball, for instance, in some of them areas. It might have been a little cut-back, reverse pass through, and he might have pulled someone out. But it was more for the balance of a lefty than anything else.
Just that little bit of class. We needed that final ball, potentially. Let's see what else you've been saying. Lots and lots of tweets coming in. Ben White says, sporting and defending well, we couldn't get off. We didn't play a strong team. We go through regardless onwards to the next game. And, of course, he wishes Welbeck a speedy recovery. I think that's fair to say. Saying that Sporting did defend well is pretty fair.
I mean, they came with a game plan. They came to frustrate us. That's exactly what they did. They were strong in defence and they just didn't want to give away a goal. I think that's what they came here to do. And, yeah, they did really, really well, unfortunately.
I think they'll definitely be the happier of the 2 teams at the end of that. Let's check out 2 more comments for you on social media now. Sue Ellis says, well done, lads. Good run of unbeaten matches. Hope Welbeck is OK. Nice positive there from Sue. And DJ Void said, a forgettable game, but a costly one. Welbeck's injury looks bad and Lichtsteiner off too. Dave, what did you think of that Lichtsteiner injury? Because it wasn't too clear quite what he'd done and the severity, but obviously we don't have any confirmation of it as of yet.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to speculate. For me, it looks like strain, maybe calf, hamstring. It doesn't look like tear pull because it wasn't no speed. He wasn't dynamic throughout the exercise. He was slowing down and he was sort of just putting his feet in front of him to slow down. One of his heels went in, so whether it's calf or hammy, I think that will be relatively simple and short term, but it's obviously Danny that's the big concern because, you know, it did look very, very bad and he was in a lot of pain.
It did, but I'm sure we'll get news of that in the coming days. But boys, before we go, your one-word summary of tonight's game. I'll go with you first, Finful.
That's hard. It has to be free. Get Welbeck.
I'll let you have that. Yeah, I'll let you have that because of what it's about. Dave, what about you?
Frustrating.
That was the word I was going to go with.
I should have went with that.
I don't even get a word. I don't even get a word, but I was thinking in my head, I'm going to say frustrating. Well, it was a frustrating evening for the Gunners, but ultimately the unbeaten run is extended and they're still unbeaten, of course, in the Europa League as well. So a good night with a few negatives with the injuries, of course. But we will be back once again on Sunday when we are back in Premier League action at the Emirates Stadium against Wolves. So please do make sure you join us on Arsenal Nation. Thanks for your company this evening and see you Sunday.